Welcome, everyone. Happy Wednesday. This is Hollywood on the Rocks. I am Chris Gore from Film Threat. Big show today. We're going to talk about House of the Dragon versus Lord of the Rings of Power. Which show is better? We'll have a friendly debate. Also today, we're going to be talking about some films that are coming out very soon. Pinocchio, starring Tom Hanks, is on Disney Plus this Friday. Did it give me wood? Wouldn't you like to know? Also, we'll be talking Clerks III. I haven't seen it, but Alan Ng, the editor-in-chief of Film Threat, has seen Clerks III. We're going to get his early reaction. Will the trilogy be Return of the Jedi or Rise of Skywalker? Who knows? The finale of the View Askew universe. Wouldn't you all like to know? Also, My Son Hunter, the controversial film, which I found out it's being distributed by Breitbart. Whatever, it's an independent film you can buy on VOD. Anyways, Alan and I have both seen My Son Hunter. It's not quite a biopic, but it's about Hunter Biden. Lots to talk about today. So glad you're here. Let's get started. Let's get the show rolling. And because you know what, our reviews are delicious. They just are.
Tell me when.
Yes, that is communication.
Science.
Holy fucking shit, these reviews are delicious.
Alan Ng, you're here. You
I'm
could
here.
probably, can you hear like my air conditioner in the background?
No, actually, the rock music in the back is.
Oh,
There
all right. There we go. I just turned it on. All right. Hey, a lot to talk about today. Like I said, Pinocchio, My Son Hunter, Clerks III. We might get to Barbarian. I'm looking at the list of movies we have on our plate. We may not get to all of those, but we will make up for it on Friday. Got a couple really fun guests on Friday. In addition, we're going to review the films that we missed today because we have so much to talk about, including House of the Dragon versus the Lord of the Rings of Power. And then also a little preview. Alan, you are going to be at D23
Yes.
this Friday.
I've been asked to refer to it as the D23 Expo. But yeah, I'll be there 9 o'clock. The exhibit hall opens. So I should technically be in the exhibit hall when the show starts.
Alan is all about the D.
All about the D, yes.
He's all about the D on Friday. And also, I just want to say thank you to the people. A lot of people out there gave me birthday wishes on Monday. I had Labor Day, hung out with my lovely girlfriend, had a great time. We had barbecue, so good. And it was a great birthday. So for those of you who were wishing me happy birthday, thank you so much. And also, this showed up on my doorstep. I ordered this probably 6 months ago. I totally forgot about it. I haven't even taken it out of the plastic yet. It's Fantastic Four full circle. It's unbelievable. I have not even cracked the seal, and I just showed
So
up.
what is it? I don't know what that is.
It's
Fantastic Four.
Alex Ross art, effectively. It's Alex Ross basically drawing and painting the Fantastic Four. So
Okay. Very cool.
I'm super. I can't even get the seal. I'm gonna ruin it if I try to. I'm gonna open this up later, but I'm excited. This ties in because Friday at D23 they're supposed to announce the cast of the Fantastic Four. Is that Friday or Saturday?
Yeah, it's Saturday. Friday is Disney Animation.
Okay, so on Saturday, it's so hot. I mean, look, that's not my hair is just fully erect. It's now just, ooh. I mean, my hair is made a sound effect for just, it's this hot weather. I have no idea. Usually my hair just sort of like kind of does whatever. It's all over the place, but I'm excited because the rumor is about the FF casting. Jodie Comer?
Jodie Comer, yeah.
Jodie Comer, who was in the film Duel. She was also in Free Guy. is going to play Invisible Woman, Sue Storm.
I think. So who is Doctor Who then? I'm thinking of another Jodie then.
No, that's
the same one.
Different actress. That's a completely different actress.
Okay,
Alan,
right.
bring up your
Good.
IMDb.
I have, but I have it on Rings of Power right now. So,
well, there you go. Yeah, so I'm excited. They could. That's a very good casting. She's age appropriate for Reed Richards, which should be about 10, 15 years older than her, if they're being accurate to the comic. And we'll see. My feeling is, there's in my lifetime, there's never been a great Fantastic Four movie. No one has been able to capture the Fantastic Four like on film. And we've had effectively 3 incarnations. There was the Roger Corman one, the one by Tim Story. They did the sequel, Rise of the Silver Surfer, and then it was the one with Michael B. Jordan, Johnny Storm.
Yeah.
Oof.
I mean,
that one was
Fantastic Four was a hard story to tell in the first place, let alone make it a movie.
Well, I think it's modern effects. I think modern effects is kind of the issue. I think now you could make the Fantastic Four, but the problem is in the sort of political and social environment that we're in, I think it's going to be terrible. Speaking of terrible, we are going to get to talk about the Rings of Power, but let's get right to your comments. A lot of people here on a Wednesday.
We got a lot of comments here.
Can you hear the 9? I have because Alan and I are both in California, so right after the stream, we have to turn our air conditioning off.
Yeah, we're in an extreme heat wave, which I don't understand.
That's what Supreme Chancellor Gavin Newsom told us.
I know.
After 4:00, just turn your air conditioning off. Don't worry about it.
I know. It's like 95 degrees here, and I'm being told it's an extreme heat wave. It's been hot at night, yeah, but I think like 109, that would be extreme, but no. Okay, let's get away from politics.
No, it's fine. No, it's just I'm like, why does my hair look like terrible? My hair, I'm just apologizing in advance before somebody brings it up, but we're so ecstatic to have you here. Thank you so much for spending your afternoon or evening. I don't know. It's happy hour somewhere. That's why we call it Hollywood on the Rocks. Let's get right to it. Before we begin to talk about all the films and television we'll be talking about today, Jim Junkie 35 for $1.99 says, do you recommend watching RRR dubbed or subtitled? Okay, I'll tell you exactly, and there's a little nuance to this. Okay. You need to watch it dubbed. I think dubbed is much better because you get the actress performance. Excuse me. What am I saying? Yeah. Subtitled. What am I saying? Dubbed. It's not. I just got home. The air conditioning is on. It's still, yes. Always watch subtitled, but you have to watch a specific subtitled version. There's 2 versions. There's Hindi and Telugu. Telugu, there's a song in it called Natu Natu, Natu Natu, and it's a different sounding song if you watch the Hindi version. So if you can watch and it's actually going to play it at the TCL Chinese Theater in IMAX. Tickets go on sale tomorrow.
Oh, no kidding.
It's a Beyond Fest thing. Dude, I'm getting tickets. I'm going to go see it for a 5th time in the theater. So the version that's on Netflix is in Hindi. The version I've seen theatrical is Telugu. It's actually kind of a different movie. So watch it subtitled in Telugu if you can, but just watch the movie. I didn't know is there a dubbed version? I didn't even know there was.
I don't know if there is. I know like Bahubali, I did see the dubbed version of that.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. All right.
But
well,
the dubs, I think the issue for me with the dubs is, they're forcing the dialogue to fit the mouth movement. And so you lose a little bit of the nuance of the original text, the original script, when you see something dubbed.
The best scenes don't have much dialogue anyways, Yeah. So the subtitles never bothered me.
Yeah, you're not really there for the dialogue. I'll grant you that.
We have a bunch of comments here. Todd Packer, House of the Dragon is easily an 8 out of 10. I would agree. I think it is an 8 out of 10. And Todd Packer also following up, Rings of Power is like a 3. And if you care about Tolkien, it's like a 1. Wow.
Yeah.
Shucksy, thank you for being a member. Being able to tune into Film Threat Live Wednesdays and Fridays really helps me feel better. Well, thank you for that, Shucksy, and I appreciate it. We don't always agree or see eye to eye, but I appreciate that you're here to hang out. A Maggot says episode 3 much better than 2. I assume you're talking about House of the Dragon.
Mhm.
Over the top at the end, though. I liked it. I still liked it. I liked sort of Daemon Targaryen's like I'm not gonna have my brother like show me up. F that. I'm just gonna go for it. I'll die a hero, or I'll actually make a difference. Because whatever their strategy wasn't working because all those soldiers they're all hiding in the caves. But I thought it was awesome. So
Yeah, I haven't gotten that part yet.
You haven't gotten to the best part of the show? Is the last?
I know, but I will say I have a lot of things to say about episode 3. So
okay, all right, we'll get into it. Luther Telbert, let's go. Hail to Film Threat. Thank you for that. Patrick Lemire, Rings of Power doesn't have access to core Tolkien. It reminds me of one of those cheap music docs that don't have the rights to the subject band's music, so they play sound beds of generic rock guitar. Is that really a thing? Like maybe some of those like docs that are on like is VH1 still around? Does that exist?
They are, but they've been long. They're nowhere near the music video station they used to be.
Well, Shucksy says we are waiting for Chris to get his magnificent hair ready for camera. Not today. Not today. Maggot goes on to say Ring of Poop. John, long last name, Alan got me to try Marvel's Avengers game again. Why is the multiplayer still broken? Alan, you must answer for this.
You know, it's not perfect. It's got its bugs, but I've actually, you know, when it works, it's great. I've been doing multiplayer a lot, but lately, it's been crapping out on me in the middle of some of these campaigns I have to get through, and which kind of sucks. But yeah, they've been buggy. They've had issues. I think the last few months they were less, but they're back again for some reason. So yeah, I love the game, but yeah, I understand the frustration behind the game.
Gotcha. A man in a wiki with double comments here. Starting off the show with a bad pun. This is going to be good. I love puns. I love dad jokes, puns, and I try to hold it back, but they pop into my head, and I'm like, don't say it. You're just going to have people groan. A man in a wiki. I thought She-Hulk had a bad script. Then I watched Rings of Power. I was proven wrong. I think for what She-Hulk is aspiring to be, I think it's fine. Yeah. I think for what Rings of Power is aspiring to be, I think it fails.
Yeah, I think there's definitely truth behind the fact that in an ocean of crap in terms of content we've been getting, She-Hulk rises slightly above the ocean of crap we've been reviewing lately.
All right, let's plow through these comments so we can get right to it. Clayton Homer, stop with the puns. You're killing my wood. Shelby AC, it's interesting. My son Hunter has Lawrence Fox in it. I think his dad is the fantastic actor Edward Fox, who was in movies like Day of the Jackal and The Bounty. Oh, I didn't know that. That's great. I missed the comment there. Shucksy, Chris, your hair will always look better than mine. Now, you know, one day we'll compare. Just send a picture of the top, like right here. See how it goes. And Andre Villafranca, Funny Pages was a fun film, but the editing was rushed. It could use 30 more minutes. It does kind of end abruptly. It ends abruptly, and like a lot of indie films, it kind of ends in a way that is a little it's kind of vague. It doesn't have like a real complete, it has a kind of ending for the character, but not like a climax that you would expect. So but it didn't bother me. It's more of a character study, and I think it's 90 minutes. I think if it was longer, it might have but you know, hey, your mileage may vary. Andre, I'm glad you watched it. I just found out it's on VOD now. So I plan to buy the film probably right after the stream. Akanika, Alan background screen broken. Alan, you normally
No, it's just not on. It's
put something on.
You what right now?
Womp Biscuits, Chris's hair has ED. I can't really argue with that. Yeah, Patrick Lemire. Now buy an electric car. It's the law. Exactly. Like,
yeah, but hey, we're not allowed to charge them right now. So,
oh wait, Shucksy with a prediction. Okay, this could happen. Alan will see it live on Saturday. Alan, could you do me a favor? Could you film some stuff? Film stuff from D23, especially the Fantastic Four thing. Can you upload it to our members only section? Yeah, because I want to see those videos. So Alan's going to be at D23. He's going to be taking pictures and video, and it's going to be tons of reports from D23. So Shucksy, thank you for being a member.
I will guarantee you this though: the Marvel panel, they will take away my cell phone and my iPad.
Oh,
we will
really?
not be allowed to bring electronics in for those.
You think
for
so?
That session.
Bummer. Shucksy says, I predict Mr. Fantastic will be black, Human Torch will be gay, and the Thing will be trans. Well, I don't know. We're gonna find out who the cast is. That doesn't mean like what their character is. But yeah, flame on. I'm just leaving that there. Evil Business, 3 episodes into the House of the Dragon, and I'm worried that this might be the best episode. What are we getting? 8? Is it 8 or 10? I always forget for that one. But it's appointment viewing for me. I'm going to watch it on Sunday. I'm going to watch it on Sunday. Like, God, maybe like Gary Beekler from Nerdrotic, who just was verified on Twitter, by the way.
They let him do that?
He put it in and he said he like forgot about it. And then suddenly I did the Nerdrotic Nooner. I always do that with Gary on Wednesday mornings. It's morning for me. It's noon for him. So he got verified on Twitter, which is great. Good for him.
By the way, 10 episodes.
10 episodes. So we've got 7 episodes left. So we'll see. And then for Rings of Power is how many episodes, Alan? And we've already seen 2.
Rings of Power.
They're probably going to end around the same time or close. No. House of the Dragon's going to go beyond it.
Yeah, no. Rings of Power is 8 episodes.
So the 3rd episode will be... Yeah, we'll
Tomorrow.
talk about the 3rd episode of Rings of Power on Friday. Evil Business. Yeah. Thank you, Evil Business, for your comment. CD Stein 69 for $9.99. I always like to say that. Hail Chris and Alan and the Film Threat chatters. Sad to say Rings of Power is under House of the Dragon and even She-Hulk. Matt Smith exceeded what I was expecting after Morbius. Yeah, I thought Matt Smith was great. Yeah, Morbius, first of all, I don't think Morbius is actually Matt Smith's fault. I thought the movie was dumb. I thought it was stupid. It was a bad vampire movie. I didn't hate it. It was like, oh, this is stupid. I mean, you're talking to someone who loved Citizen Toxie. The best Toxic Avenger movie is Citizen Toxie, and get the DVD because the commentary on that is great. But yeah, Matt Smith is so good in that role, Daemon Targaryen. Like it's I don't think the King is going to last through the season. What are your thoughts, Alan?
The King? Oh, we want to get... Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts. I think I'll save that for when we actually
we'll get into it. We'll get into it in a sec. Yeah. Almost through the comments here. Jens Anderson of the Tari just became a member. Thank you for that. We need a video for when people become a member. We need a video or something we could do. I don't know. We could do like when someone becomes a member, this. Just like that. We could, oh shoot. I was going to save that for something else. I wasn't supposed to show that. I'm sorry, Alan. Solomon, thank you for Jens for becoming a member. Solomon Thornton, Roger Corman Fantastic Four was good in my opinion. The Fantastic Four should be about a family traveling to different planets and dimensions like Star Trek. I always thought the Fantastic Four would have made a better television series in the vein of Doctor Who, right? Mm-hmm. So they travel to other planets, they go to the negative zone, they meet the Mole Man, they go, in inner Earth. They're pioneers, they're traveling to distant worlds, and it's more science fiction than superhero. And I always thought like, oh, the Fantastic, they've got such a great rogues gallery of villains, right? Like the Fantastic Four is just it was my gateway comic.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of action films they lean into a movie that needs to be all action, and you kind of put the drama off to subplots basically, and that's why I feel like it's going to be tough to make a Fantastic Four movie because are you going to bog it down with family drama, or are you going to make it just all action? Yeah.
So we'll see how they could do with the movie. I mean, I think you are correct. The Roger Corman was the only one of the Fantastic Four films where I felt it matched the characters from the comic books. And the comic books for me are like the first 100 issues that were done by Jack Kirby and Stan Lee. So there you go. Mr. Butt Crack Media for 2 says Rings of Power is a big pile of poopy. Well, pile of poopy. I love alliteration. In addition to bad puns, alliteration is my jam. But there you go. Wait, what am I doing here? I'm trying to get reset. Okay, we should launch right in. We'll get to your comments. And I do want to talk about, we are going to talk about My Son Hunter and Pinocchio, and at least get an early reaction for Clerks 3. But right now, House of the Dragon versus the Rings of Power. And this is like, I feel like, here's what we should do right now. Let's kick it off positive, okay, before we get into critiques. Why don't both of us express something we like about each of these shows? Is there something we can find to like about each of these shows? Alan, what can you say that's something positive about both shows?
Yeah, I mean, I could say for both of the shows, they're good-looking shows.
Okay.
You know, the backgrounds, the lands, very artistic. You know, I think it's hard to go wrong with the costuming. I think, you know, to me, those are the positives. If I want to see something beautiful, I'll go to either of these shows. Yeah, you know,
so you're saying they look good.
They look good. You know, Rings of Power, I think so. But you know, regarding Rings of Power, that's just probably as far as I can go with good. House of Dragon, you know, it's the reason I'm stammering a little bit with House of Dragon because I felt like going into this third episode, I was gonna kind of give up on it. It was like I'm just not feeling it, and then this conversation between the king and sorry, I've got the names here. This is the worst thing because I have to research names and stuff for me to figure out. So the king and Rhaenyra, they have this conversation, and it's like, oh, this is a really good conversation between the king and his daughter, who he promised would take over for him. And then you go to the island, and you got this whole thing with Daemon, which I haven't completed, but when he starts throwing a temper tantrum, it's like, okay, this is starting to actually get better now, and I'm kind of gonna give it another chance now.
Well, it's what I like is, and we've talked about this, like the chess pieces are being placed on the board. Alliances are being formed. There are problems we can see down the road, but I think what I'll say something nice about the Rings of Power. It's pretty.
Yes.
But it looks like everything is so bright, it just looks like a TV show that's overlit. House of the Dragon is also pretty in its own way. It's darker. I mean, there were certain of the scenes I'm like, oh, that's pretty. It's pretty dark, but that's all by design. It's like it feels more cohesive, right?
Yeah.
And
I mean, I think Rings of Power is doing a good job trying to at least recreate what Peter Jackson had done. You know, obviously the budget is not.
What, are you? Wait a sec. Repeat what you just said.
I think in terms of the look and the production value, considering the budget it has, it's doing a good job trying to mimic it and copy it for television.
Right.
Maybe that's a better way to say it. But you know, they don't have the budget and they don't have nearly the creativity that Peter Jackson had. But you know, at least you know, they have a standard with Peter Jackson in terms of production value and art.
Well, here's the thing. You know, we talked about the Rings of Power on Friday. We talked about it again on Flashcast, Midnight's Edge in the morning, and again today on the Nerdrotic Nooner. So I've talked about it a lot, but what was weird about the experience of the Rings of Power, I thought, was a colossal disappointment. I don't expect it to get better by episode 3. Apparently, from my understanding, from people who I consider reliable sources, the first 2 episodes are the best of the series.
Oh no.
And there's 6 to go.
I was out after the first episode.
Yeah, so I was after the Flash cast on Saturday night, I was freaking kind of depressed. I was and depressed by God, how could, and this is just sort of typical par for the course, a huge corporation buys a intellectual property, a brand. They basically bought the brand, right, to create something new, and they've modernized it, but not in a way that makes it better. They're not sticking to the source material or even the spirit of the source material. So I was like, just to sort of get me out of my funk, I watched The Fellowship of the Ring, and then like an amazing bag of potato chips, I just went right to the Two Towers. Then I started watching Return of the King. I haven't finished it, but so that was like my Sunday sitting around. And then I at the end of the Two Towers, I actually got choked up. I was like Sam gives this speech about hope. He's talking about just hope and not giving up, and just like things that oh wow, we never hear optimistic messages from anyone anymore in positions of power. Not at the movies. You don't hear a lot of hopeful messages at movies anymore. You don't hear politicians or leaders that are hopeful and positive about the future. I mean,
well, we did, but that one became a meme and a derogatory term. The whole making things great again.
Right. So yeah, like all messages of positivity and hope are kind of they're almost frowned upon, right? Yeah. So Sam gives this speech at the end of the Two Towers, and I kind of lost it. I was just not only was I kind of upset that based on what Sam was saying, I mean, he's got nearly tears in his eyes, and I know the speech I'm talking about.
Yeah, I mean, it'll wreck you. Yeah, it'll definitely wreck you.
And so, but also I was thinking about, we're never going to get anything this good again. What I watched and what I witnessed in Two Towers, a lot of people count Two Towers as their favorite just because of the epic battles. But I'm watching this going this will never happen again. It's going to take Hollywood years to turn things around, if not a decade, if it even recovers.
Well, and I don't think this. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Just one quick last thing. I just don't think that the values that are espoused in Tolkien, we can't take it for granted that those are things that people think in a broad sense. We sort of collectively we're all in favor of this. We're all in favor of this. And that's not true anymore. It's not true that everybody's on the same page about even the most basic things. Basic, simple things we used to all agree upon, of things that were good and things that were evil. We don't agree on those anymore. And the movies and our entertainment reflects that disparity in that. It's just bizarre. So I'm watching, Two Towers, and that just I lost it when Sam gave that speech. Sorry, Alan, I interrupted you.
Yeah, no, I'm just going your vein. Like I said, my daughter and I, we finally got through Fellowship of the Rings, her first time. The difference between Return of the Lord of the Rings and Rings of Power is that it says something. There's a message behind it. In Fellowship of the Ring, it was all about the ring, the power that comes from the ring, and the temptation that ring gave everybody. In fact, when you watch it again, you realize that every single character was tested by the ring to either to not succumb to its temptations and its corruption, or you found out just what did corrupt them in terms of what the ring and what power in general does to people. That's a message in a movie, and that's the theme of that movie. The same thing with Two Towers. It's this idea of hope. Rings of Power, I don't know what it is. I don't know where they're going. I don't know what themes are. And I fear where Hollywood has gone today is they, if they were to watch Two Towers again or Fellowship of the Rings, they wouldn't even know the message was in there. All they would see is the action, the fighting, the drama, the brave, strong women. That's what they see, but they don't see that subtext, that message, that theme behind the movie.
Yeah. And real quick, so I found these little cans of Diet Dr. Pepper sitting in my shelf. You know, you're like going through like, why do I have all these? These are 10 years old. I've had these for 10 years. I just opened one. It's disgusting. Just so you know, these do not hold up. It tastes salty and okay. Those are going to the garbage, folks.
By the way, but before I get eviscerated in the chat, the question posed to me was say something good about Rings of Power. And I said something good, and now I'm getting
it looked good. I actually think in every person I've seen comment, they concede that, oh, the show does look good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, soda does not hold up past 10 years. So all I can say is this, I'm all in on House of the Dragon. I'll be watching every episode. I don't know if we'll talk about it every week. But I'm loving it. I'm really enjoying the show. It's appointment viewing, like, and probably like Game of Thrones. Like I would watch each episode of Game of Thrones twice just because there's so much that you can pick up on a second viewing. And the other thing I would recommend also is turn on the closed captioning. There are a lot of characters, some characters that they don't use their names. They actually put the names in the closed captioning. Like, so you can find out like some inconsequential characters what their names actually are. So I recommend, even though you don't need to, I mean, look, it's in English, you don't need the subtitles necessarily, but the closed captioning, you learn a lot. And that's how I learned to watch Game of Thrones with the closed captioning. Then you can it's easier to keep up with character names. Let's go to your comments here. But when it comes to the Rings of Power, I just don't know, like, and I guess they're releasing it midnight. Is it midnight on Thursday?
Let me check here.
Double check that, Alan.
Yeah.
I just don't know if I'll care enough. And I don't know if I'd want to binge the rest of it. It really is like, I'm just shocked that someone didn't look at this, even a rough cut, you know, there's no effects, whatever. You just cut together the scenes telling the story, and somebody looking at that first episode of the Rings of Power, even, and it's like, you know, we've seen, like, one thing I think it's really interesting. There's a DVD you can find with Walt Disney's Beauty and the Beast. There's a version of it that's just in the animatics, where all the sound is mostly there, and then it's just like sort of half animated sequences, but you can see the movie in there. You can see what the movie will be.
Yeah, that was like a preview that came out at, I believe it was Sundance, that they were just going to show what they had of Beauty and the Beast, and that was what you saw.
Yeah, it was, no, but that's actually been released on DVD, and it was did a limited theatrical, like, hey, this is what animated movies kind of look like before we finish them. And I wonder if someone looked at the Rings of Power, the first episode or first two episodes, when it was an unfinished form, and they could not have thought to themselves, like, we may not be going in the right direction here. Yeah. And then Paul Chato pointed out on his channel, there are no recognizable actors in the Rings of Power, like not one.
Yeah, I think we mentioned that Howard Shore and Bear McCreary were probably the most famous people in Rings of Power.
And you can't, that's another aspect of the show the music's pretty good. Music's good.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's okay. It doesn't stand out as something that makes the show less. So, well, I have a lot of comments here.
Yeah.
We'll get through them. Maggot, McDonald's French fries versus sun-baked mayonnaise. Oh God. I remember the taste of that. Going to the beach when I was a kid. And by the beach, I mean like in Michigan, going to a lake. It's not the same as ocean. All right. But you know, it's much murkier. So you go to the lake, you get a sandwich, mayonnaise on it. And I remember that taste. Not great. I feel horrible being reminded of that. Thomas Tulak, fan theory, Rings of Power and House of the Dragon are in the same world, same time, just on different continents. Wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't that be great?
A crossover event. That would be awesome.
Daemon Targaryen just went and just murdered all the Harfoots. Somebody make a video of that. I want to see, because there's footage. I mean, obviously you've seen Daemon with the, dragon. And there's a game I actually, at the very end of the show, I got to stop watching those behind the scenes things. They do a little BTS at the end. They always just like, I'm like, I want to keep watching. I want more House of the Dragon, and so it's like, why am I still watching this? They did
I
an
feel like they
ad for like
overexplain things too.
they did an ad for this new game, and it's a dragon, and it's one of those augmented reality games. Can you see this? You can actually, in the augmented reality game, you raise a dragon. It's like a more sophisticated version of a Tamagotchi. It's called the game is called Dracaris, and it's so what you do, you probably can't, you like, so it basically, you can see my dragon is going to show up. I wonder if you can see it. Can you see me? And
No, you got the
dragon. No,
it's the camera's on for some reason. So,
well, no, here comes my dragon right here, somewhere.
I get what you're saying.
In my room. Can you see? All right. Anyways, I actually downloaded the game. They got me to download a game, and I'm sure they're in-app purchases. So, Anonymous says, I think Rings of Power mostly look good. That is the only positive I can say out of what I watched. To be fair, I couldn't finish the first episode. That's a bad thing. If you can't finish the first episode of an epic series of something I'm sure you're predisposed to like, that's a problem. That's a problem. Thank you for that comment, Anonymous. Solomon Thornton, House of the Dragon, easily. Even Elon Musk hates Rings of Power, is making men cowards and jerks. It's just bad writing. I can't argue with that. I saw that Elon Musk tweet. He's trolling Jeff Bezos. He's trolling Jeff. But you got to give Jeff credit. If you ever looked up that, you can Google image search like Jeff Bezos, like I think it's like a shot from like the early 90s when he was like starting Amazon, and he looks like a schlub. It looks like a picture like right out of Office Space, the movie. And he just looks like kind of a loser. And now he's taking rockets into outer space. Thanks, Solomon. Shucksy, I'll take a crappy looking movie with good characters and storytelling over something with good visuals as the only appeal any day of the week. True. Like that's a lot of Hollywood product.
You're also describing indie films here. Crappy looking movie with good characters and storytelling.
That's most indie films. It's like, well, we're using what we have. Okay. So yeah, thanks, Jaxie. Robert Thomason Watson, House of the Dragon is on a different level to Rings of Power in storytelling, characters, and the immersion in its universe. Anonymous, the dragon attack scene at night was amazing. Yeah, I love that. They've got to like, okay, so you could take like Daemon Targaryen on the dragon, take the background out, and just make it the Harfoots. Make the background the Harfoots. Amanda Nowicki's a member. Thank you. After the final season of Game of Thrones, I'm worried House of the Dragon will also end on a sour note. Well, who knows how it's going to end? I mean, we know how it's going to end, right? It's going to end with House Targaryen in shambles. And I hope, because of the way, this is another thing I really like about what I like about House of the Dragon as opposed to Rings of Power. There are fewer characters in House of the Dragon, and they're all kind of directed in the same arena. They're introducing other new characters slowly. Also, time is progressing much quicker. It used to be you'd watch an episode of Game of Thrones, and the episode next week would pick up directly after events that occurred the previous week. In this, from the first episode to the second episode was 6 months. From the second episode to the third, it might be 2 years, 3 years. So, like, I love that. I love that it's progressing time-wise quicker.
Yeah. I mean, I'll tell you, this was my issue going into the third episode. Was I felt like the story was getting predictable. I mean, I haven't seen Game of Thrones, but I know that this kingdom is about to fall for whatever reason. I don't know much. I don't know where it's going, but I know it's going to fall. It's like Titanic. You know, at the end of the movie, the ship's going to sink and people are going to die. And so, and then as they were playing things out, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, I know that Lord Corlys is going to team up with Daemon. And as things were happening, it's like, well, yeah, I get it. That has to happen. This has to happen. This has to happen. But now with the end of the third episode, it's starting to subvert my expectations now. So yeah, now I'm willing to give it another chance. But there was a point where I was just like, I know where this is going, and hopefully the next few episodes it'll be less predictable.
There are almost 400 people watching right now, so slap that like button and subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. I love to have you join us every week. Oh wow. So yeah, we appreciate you hanging out with us. Running with Scissors says Disa exceeded expectations. Yeah, I agree. She's just good. The show needed some comic relief.
Mm-hmm.
It was
some energy and some life.
Exactly. It was like just the stuff is so heavy with Galadriel. She is not fun to hang out with. Never invite Galadriel to brunch.
Yeah. Although this is somewhat of a backhanded compliment too.
Well, yes. Bethel Game says, okay, Alan is back to normal.
Again, I was asked, say something nice about it. And all I said was they're doing a good job copying what Peter Jackson had done.
They didn't, I don't think they copied that. I think what they did was they aspired to make it look expensive. And they better because it costs, each episode costs twice as much as House of the Dragon. It's kind of crazy. Andrew Odette, I love Game of Thrones and I'm a season 8 apologist in many ways. Totally fine. 3 episodes of House of the Dragon and it's a better show than if you look at the first 3 episodes of Game of Thrones in a vacuum. Will it end up being better? Maybe. Rings of Power is BS. Andrew, couldn't agree more. I actually, oddly, because I remember watching the first season of Game of Thrones and I was kind of like, can they stop introducing new characters? They kept introducing new characters and it felt like the events in Game of Thrones moved slowly. What I like about House of the Dragon is that the events are progressing in a way that is great. It's setting so much stuff up and it's moving quicker. And I feel like they're setting up characters to really pay off. I really am loving it. So there you go. So I'm glad you're enjoying it. And you know what? You can enjoy. There are parts of season 8 that are good. I think that season 8 needed to be 2 seasons long. But I think that the cast should have gone 10 full seasons. But then George should have finished the books. We could go on and on. Amanda Nowicki, couldn't the Rings of Power have used the costumes from Peter Jackson films? Yeah, I think there's like little things that bug me about Rings of Power, and costume design is one of those things. And also the fact that things look too perfect, right? Like I think that Lord of the Rings environments felt lived in, right? They felt like it was a real world, and this feels like it's just too perfect. So yeah, I'm nitpicky. CD Stein 69 says, so they were trying to copy Jackson without using him and ghosting him for any input that he offered. Yeah, I heard about that. Yep. There was a news story that broke. Do you know about that, Alan?
No, I mean, I know what they did to Peter Jackson. I don't know specifics.
They had said like, oh, I'll look at the scripts, he's a good guy. They never sent it to him. They never sent it. That seems weird. Amanda Nowicki, leftist. It's a fantasy world. We can do whatever we want. Also leftist. Let's cram as much modern politics into this show as possible to reflect the modern world. Bingo. That's a great comment. I think that's the comment of the day. I think that, you know what? You should, Amanda, send a self-addressed stamped envelope to Film Threat, 5042 Wilshire Boulevard, PMB 1500, Los Angeles, California 90036. Send you a bumper sticker. Send me a larger envelope. I'll send you more free stuff. What a great comment. Bethel Games says you cannot modernize Tolkien. Tolkien is Tolkien, no matter where and when. That's what's great about classic storytelling and classic novels. They defined that they transcend, they last beyond the era in which they were written. And that's exciting. Complaining about Lord of the Rings diversity is like storming into Trattoria and demanding Thai food.
Oh, by the way, I was corrected in the comments. There is one Latino and one Asian. So truly, it's Tolkienism.
Oh, in House of the Dragon, there's an Asian. There was last
episode.
Yeah,
I did see the Asian in the background.
Whenever they say diversity, they never mean Asian.
Yeah, like the Asian in Rings of Power had as much screen time as the Asian in House of the Dragon.
Womp Biscuit says, on a positive note, I find reassurance in movies now that Brendan Fraser has made a return. Love that guy, but he can't change Hollywood, but I'll take the wins when I can. Interesting thing about Brendan Fraser that I know, a buddy of mine named James Darling wrote a screenplay called The Pilot. Effectively, it was a biopic about Gene Roddenberry. And the story is about the making of the pilot episode of Star Trek. And they made 2 pilot episodes, and it was a mess. It's very rare, like in history, they'll go like, okay, we made this pilot, let's make a second pilot. So they made the first pilot, then they made a second pilot with William Shatner. It was done through Desilu Studios. And you know, Lucille Ball is there would be no Star Trek without Lucille Ball, but they wanted Brendan Fraser to play Gene Roddenberry. And if you look at pictures of him now, imagine Brendan Fraser playing Gene Roddenberry. I read the script.
I can imagine it.
This friend of mine's script, he wants to do it in indie movies, been trying to raise money for years. This is a story of every indie filmmaker. I wrote the script 10 years ago, finally all came together. That's sometimes how long it happens. I would love to see Brendan Fraser play Gene Roddenberry, because Gene Roddenberry is a weird looking dude, sort of unusual looking, and he talks in kind of a weird way. But I don't know, just I can see. I was like, when he first told me, I was like, wait, Brendan Fraser is Gene Roddenberry? That's weird. Now I see pictures of him and it's like, oh my God, it's perfect casting. Brendan Fraser is Gene Roddenberry. It would be awesome. So that's great. Thank you for that. Man in a wiki, drinking 10-year-old soda, desperate times. No, I just found it. I just found it in my, like, this sort of back. You know what I also have?
Yeah, but it's open, isn't it? Did you drink that?
I'm not going to drink it. It's disgusting. But I also found a Mountain Berry. It was a Mountain Dew that is when the Dark Knight, The Dark Knight Rises came out. I'm trying to think it was the Dark Knight or the Dark Knight Rises. Dark Knight Rises came out. They came out with a Mountain Dew, and I have a can of that. Maybe I'll try to drink that on a stream. And it's a weird sort of blue raspberry flavor that, trust me, it affects your gut, your insides. And I remember mixing it with vodka just for fun. It was awful. But yeah, I don't know. I just was like, what is this sitting here? And it's just like, I could use a little caffeine right now. And I will not be finishing that. That's going to be chucked in the garbage. But Amanda, yeah, just for your amusement, I thought I would bring that on screen. Thomas Tulek, Tolkien was a great writer because he wrote from personal experiences in a real war. Rings of Power was written by people with no real world experience who are just fans. Yeah, I find that true of like modern writers today. And here's how, like, when they say write what you know, say write from experiences that you've had, how you've seen the world. This is why I think modern writing sucks so bad. It's really from a lot of people who went to college and never had to struggle in any meaningful way. So they don't really have experiences to draw from that made them into the person they are today. That's why I hate to say this. I am going to be an ageist for a second. Usually people that are older make better writers. Just saying, they've had some life experience. Okay. They've seen things. And I think the best thing you can do if you want to be a writer is, continue to write, but also travel the world, have experiences, fall in love, get your heart broken. That's something to draw from. I remember when I first saw Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, my first thought was, well, they say write what you know. And George Lucas has been having a lot of meetings for the last decade. A lot of meetings, because Episode 1 starts with a meeting. They're going to have a meeting. Then they have a meeting. Then they go to Coruscant to have another meeting. They go to Jedi Council to have another meeting. It's like a series of meetings. Everybody having meetings. If only they had Slack in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
Some sort of work efficiency chat thing. Andrew Odette, Rings of Power, like most streaming, is not art or entertainment. It's content. Yeah, I hate when people use that term content, but I think it applies here.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing
Yeah,
more.
they made it because they had to make it. They needed content.
Nothing more. They pump in politics and social commentary because it's easy and surface level and helps to pump it out. I woke up screaming, Alan, at 3 a.m. Says
Again, the question posed to me was, say something nice about Rings of Power. Look, shit has a really beautiful shade of brown. Okay? I could say something nice about shit, too.
Go on.
That was it. Shit is, the browns in shit is quite beautiful, I find.
Alan, I had to do that. Jack D. Ripper goes on. The show is trying to be too many things while simultaneously being nothing at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure.
Good insight there.
Oh, and here, Midnight's Edge After Dark. Tom, how's it going, Tom? Thank you. So kind. On Midnight's Edge in the morning. I'm on there Monday mornings. They got to get you on there, Alan. How come you're never on?
You know, I just need a clear time and say, okay, I can do it.
Well, you should be on when I'm not on. Do another time.
Is he on every day or?
Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but then there's Midnight's Edge After Dark. I don't know. Tom, just DM Alan. He'll help you. Midnight's Edge After Dark, subscribe to that channel. Says, I have no real horse in this race, so I'm just here to throw popcorn. Well, thank you, Tom. We appreciate it. Let's see. Amanda Nowicki. Oh, if the Rings of Power was a screensaver, I'd watch it. Good one. Aaron Gray. I do not think Rings of Power looked good. The costumes and design looked cheap.
Yeah, for the amount of money they had, yes. You would think.
Thomas Tulek, you do know they sell new sodas at the store nowadays, right? I try to okay, but so wait. I don't drink a lot of soda. I'll tell you, I drink soda when I go to the movies. That's when I drink soda. But I don't keep it at my place. What I like to do is I have a lemon tree in my front patio. It's not like I have an orchard. I have one lemon tree. My girlfriend has a lemon tree, and I like a little bit of lemon water. Apparently, it's good for digestion. I
hope you wash those lemons before you put them in the water.
I always wash them.
Okay.
I always wash them, or I put them in a little vodka soda. Don't worry, the alcohol kills anything. But yeah, no, I don't keep soda around my place. I thought, what are these like? Oh, I'll just drink these because I could use the caffeine. But I found the Dark Knight Rises cans. On Friday, I'll bring them out. Andrew Odette, Rings of Power looked fine, but doesn't look better than a trilogy made 20 years ago. Despite the advancements in technology and genre storytelling, it's sad, but not a surprise. No love put into it. Okay, that is the key. Go look up. I defy you. After the stream, go look up any interview with Peter Jackson around the time that The Lord of the Rings was made, around that era. Go look at interviews that he did. When you hear this, go look at watch interviews.
The making of video, the making of documentaries of Fellowship of the Rings. Start there and just find Peter Jackson talking about it. You're just like, that's the guy I want doing that. He's so well informed. He's so passionate. He's so committed to it. The fact that a lot of the effects were done using forced perspective, which is one of the oldest techniques used in filmmaking. Forced perspective is when you put a giant castle is the foreground. You put it in the foreground. You shoot it like an f-stop 22, and then you've got someone way in the back. So you can make it looks like this castle that's probably a model about this big looks gigantic, but it's not.
That's how they did
The
a lot of
interesting
comedy.
thing is when you listen to like the commentaries on that, you realize that Peter Jackson was still developing the technology while the movies were made. When Gollum appears in Fellowship of the Ring, he admits that they hadn't quite perfected Gollum yet to when he appears in Two Towers. They were still working on it, and they hadn't gotten it down at that point.
Right. So, yeah.
Yeah, but
Robert,
yeah. Go ahead.
Roberto Sabato, it's simple. Amazon and modern media sees Tolkien old and bad. So Rings of Power don't have any of Tolkien's values, but just forced modernist values. Yeah, that's the thing that I miss, like in modern films, that was sort of agreed upon, like, here are values we all kind of, and whether we speak them or not, it's like, oh, this is good, this is evil. And now that things have become blurred. Okay. Patrick Lemire, I hate to scold people, but I hate to be a scold, but people need to stop hate watching and expecting any of this to stop. True.
I
Like
can't disagree with that.
if you just don't watch it, if you don't watch it, then they won't have ratings, and then they'll stop making stuff like that. I'm told that they've committed to 5 seasons of the Rings of Power. I don't see how this goes 5 seasons. I think with that, what will happen is they'll amend it and say, look, wrap up the story in 3 or even 2 seasons.
Yeah, or stop. Just stop.
Or stop. They could do that. Netflix is pretty cold about that. If you look at Netflix, they've had so many series that started with like 1 season and then just ended, including like with like story threads, like it's not resolved, and they don't care. Andrew Odette, the showrunners have no experience. This is just about pumping out a big name for their streaming service and nothing more. They turned it into a political theater on Twitter, to get the title trending. Yeah.
The degree in which everyone is defending the series, the filmmakers, the cast, shows you that they have no ability to see imperfection in the work they've done.
MK Solid 82 says Alan was spotted accepting a suitcase from Amazon executives. Alan, show us the suitcase.
Yeah, hold on. Well, it's more of a backpack full of money, but
Solomon Thornton, the sword fight scene in House of the Dragon was pretty epic. Yeah, I mean, it's just, oh my God. That final thing when Daemon comes out of the cave, he's got pieces of what was that guy's name? The Crab King or the Crab?
Yeah,
I kept thinking, like, it just reminded me of, like, that sounds like a good name for a restaurant.
The Crab Shack.
Was it? I forget. So, and Shake from Hunger Team, thank you for joining as a member. Chris, we can't trust Gary anymore. He has a blue check now. Oh my God. I mean, I teased him a little bit, but he can't say that anymore. He can't say those blue check marks on Twitter. I mean, I'm one. Good for him.
Well, he'll get suspended soon enough. By the way, it's the Crab Feeder.
The Crab Feeder. I think Crab Feeder has a really good Tuesday special. They've got a plate. It's an all you can eat. No, just anyways. Yeah. Well, I just think it's funny because now he can't really call people out for that anymore. And I happen to know for a fact Ryan Cannell, who occasionally will drop in, he really wants to get verified on Twitter. He's talked about it on FNT. I wouldn't say that unless he's already spoken publicly about something. So like that, but yeah. I don't know. There's really no advantage to being verified on Twitter. I am verified, and so is Film Thread. The only advantage is you can see who else is verified, who follows you. That is literally it. And it only works on mobile. It's very bizarre. But yeah, Shake, that's funny. I will tease Gary. I will tease him. And I guess he's going to be on that show InfoWars tonight with Chrissy Mayer. So there you go. Joe Dudna, when I was younger, my friends and I didn't like a movie but wanted to say something positive. We said, well, it was in focus. Yeah, that was always like, yeah, the movie's in focus.
Or the popcorn was good.
Yes, B Sparks 917 is a member. Thank you. Hail, Chris in chat. Rings of Power just doesn't feel like Lord of the Rings. Let me pause there. you are correct. It doesn't feel like Lord of the Rings. It is, they dramatically underestimated how much Peter Jackson put into the tone of the Lord of the Rings, how much time he spent world building, how much time he spent casting even characters that were on screen for a few seconds. Okay. And there's so many great moments we've talked about, like, when Gandalf comes to town and you had that like couple, the Hobbit couple, and the one guy's like kind of happy to see Gandalf until his wife is like disapproving, and then he scowls at him to kind of mirror her. It's funny. Or when just a great scene when they're birthing these creatures, building the army of orcs.
Urukai.
Yeah, the Urukai, and like the Urukai comes out and just kills the orc. Yeah. He's effectively a baby, and an Urukai just like murders him. It's great, like, and it's just like, and they're very surprised, like, oh, we did well. We created a murdering baby. But it's like little touches, and there's things that attempt to be that. It reminds me of The Force Awakens, which I hated. And I think it does equally as poor world building, where there are things where in J.J. Abrams' mind, it's like, oh, this was meant to be fanciful and fill your head with wonder, and it's going to be whimsical, and it's not.
Yeah.
It's an attempt to be.
I mean, I think the word copying is the good word, as opposed to being inspired. They're copying Lord of the Rings. They're not inspired by Lord of the Rings.
It's not just a copy. It's a copy of a copy of a copy. B Sparks 917 goes on to say, if they weren't going to give us stories we recognize from Middle Earth, why do it to begin with? They also attacked fans first. That is always a losing strategy. When will studios, someone has to write about this. Lots of people have been talking about this. Variety or The Reporter are one of those things that people in Hollywood all pay attention to. Need to write a story of why attacking fans is never a winning strategy for a marketing department. Stop it. When you accuse fans of either being racist or misogynist or whatever, you're winning no one over. No one.
Well, somehow they seem that non-fans are the bigger market than actual fans for their products.
CD Stein.
Why do they care about fans? Just go after the non-fans.
CD Stein 69 for $4.99 says Morfydd Clark was disappointing. She was good in Saint Maud. I'm really disappointed. Seems the show picked up every Hollywood failure for this. And Douglas A. Burton for 10. Rings of Power is a showcase for misguided modern storytelling. The show treats superficial aspects as superior to universal and cultural archetypes. And there's nothing more transient than a current worldview. Here's what's interesting. And Douglas, thank you for that. To go off on what you said, nothing is going to feel more dated. 5 years, you know what? Less than 5 years from now, you're going to look back on Rings of Power and you're going to go, why was this ever made? And you're going to look back on the original Lord of the Rings trilogy and say, wow, this really holds up. Because I watched it the other night and it really holds up. And I started Return of the King. I'll get to it, but wow. Philip for 10. Heads up, season 1 of House of the Dragon is going to cover about 20 years with time skips every episode until the war starts. It's due to how the source material is written. Future seasons will move at normal GOT speed. Oh, is that true, Philip? I didn't know that. Thank you. Really? So 20 years. So it's going to span 20 years. The war starts, and then the future seasons, there's not going to... I like the time skips. I hope they continue that.
I mean, Olivia Cook takes over one of the roles.
Is that it? Yeah. Paulie is here from Latino Slant, also a member. Thank you, Paulie. House of the Dragon doesn't suck. End of argument. Rings of Power sucks. Couldn't have said it better. Could not have said it better. To sum up, go sub to the Latino Slant. Yeah, I would agree with that. Bass Player 2011 a 5 for $9.99. The sad thing is Weta is working Rings of Power. Oh, really? They're one of the studios doing the digital effects?
Yes, they are.
Wow. That turned out to be a major disappointment. Also, subverting expectations has become a crutch for piss poor writing. Woo! Wow, we have a lot of comments here. I don't know if I'm going to get to all these. I will do my best. Thomas Tulak, never invite Galadriel to lunch. This needs to be on a t-shirt. Yeah, or brunch. Still can't get used. Yeah, 11s. Still can't get used to elves with short hair, says Thomas. Goes on to say. Old Torf 520, they need nipples on the chest plates, to be honest. Why not? Joel Schumacher did that with the bat suit. Infinite Main, who's a member, thank you. Rings of Power has the most repetitive dialogue. They just keep repeating themselves. Yeah, it's true. The dialogue it's just overwritten. They just keep repeating themselves, like saying the same things over and over again. Yeah, exactly. Dragon Balls, it's pure garbage and yet somehow the most expensive show ever. Yeah, it's weird. Diversity is just shorthand for not white. Yeah. Yeah, that's what it means. And this is Santos. No one complains about lack of diversity in Squid Game or Black Panther. Yeah, because nobody cares. And I feel like no one should care when it comes to some of these other shows. Although, look, Christopher Nolan is making a film that I think has no diversity. Oppenheimer.
I mean, and then they could make him black. The Oppenheimer.
Yeah, just do that.
Why not? It'll
be great.
I mean, I've said it before, but Parasite was the least diverse Academy Award Best Picture in a very long time, and if it were nominated this year, it wouldn't qualify for any of the awards because the cast and crew were not diverse enough.
But that is forcing a way to make. I mean, look, they're saying that RRR could be nominated for Best Picture. Not a lot of diversity. Well, I guess there is diversity.
Well,
because there are white
people. I mean, the white people.
The white people, they're all the bad guys. They're all the bad guys. That's why I think that movie could do well.
Yeah, but was the crew diverse? That's what we need to know. Was the crew diverse?
Yeah. This is but Santos brings up a good point. The problem is no one complains about diversity in things like Squid Game and Black Panther because it shouldn't matter anyways, and it's hypocritical when other things are accused of that, right? Like the movie Licorice Pizza got a little bit of that. That was Paul Thomas Anderson's movie. It was out last year. I like that movie.
Although in Black Panther they did go, I believe they went to Hong Kong or Tokyo, and then Martin Freeman was in it.
Yeah, diversity. Also, who cares? Actually, it could have been an all-black cast. I wouldn't have cared.
Yeah, they didn't have to go to Asia, but
they didn't even have to go. They didn't. It doesn't matter to me. But it shouldn't matter. Like if the Fantastic Four cast is all white, that shouldn't matter. There are so many other characters in the Marvel universe, in the Fantastic Four universe. There's so many characters that there are other characters. If they wanted to make it diverse, fine. There's
Namor.
Huh?
There's Namor.
I always thought Namor was Asian.
Yeah, but he would be more on the Atlantic side of the ocean than the Pacific side.
All right. So, Anonymous Crow, House of the Dragon is diversity in the Sailor House Valerian, who hire foreign sellswords and sail the world. It makes enough sense to me. Rings of Power just uses token casting. Yeah, actually, what's funny is the diversity in House of the Dragon doesn't even stand out. I think it's also partially because I don't know that much of the cast. I do know that one of the actors was talking about it, but I feel like if that's your sell for a show, it's not enough. It's not enough for a show. So, yeah, it just seems like it's sort of token, like it's just sort of thrown out. Token, not Tolkien. So there you go. I am not going to be able to get to all these comments. We're gonna, yeah. There's no way if we're gonna talk about. We may want to switch gears here because we talked about this a lot, and switch gears just for a second, and we're gonna come back to this to end the show. But I do want to talk about some other films and do a preview because Alan saw Clerks III.
Ooh.
And I want to get your early, just give us a little bit. We're going to get back to, I promise we're going to get back to Rings of Power and House of the Dragon, but I have not seen Clerks III, and Alan did, and I want to get your honest early reaction, Alan, because I'm not really going to get to talk to you on Friday all that much, right? So, Alan, what did you think of Clerks 3?
You know, gosh darn it. Clerks 3, the first Clerks was cool for one reason, and it was an indie film. It was in black and white. It was shot on film. It was kind of Kevin Smith's, rise to fame. And so there's this coolness factor. And I think in Clerks 3, he was trying to resurrect some of it, or just bring, it's one of these, this is the last chapter of Clerks. And so we've got to make this movie that brings back all the memories and all the feelings of all the characters, even the dead ones, and then present it this way. And I just felt like, I just not that impressed by it as a film, by it as a sequel. The story is basically Randall. He suffers a heart attack. He almost dies. And so as a way to cement his legacy, he decides to become a filmmaker and make a movie, something he's always wanted to do with the rest of his life. And lo and behold, that movie winds up being Clerks. But this movie is about making that movie. It's about the friends he's made along the ways and honoring those friends. And then, there's Dante, who is there by his side, ready and willing to do everything that Randall needs. And you realize that Randall is more invested in the film than he is about this lifelong friendship he had with Dante. And that's kind of how this plays out. You're gonna find stark differences between Clerks and this one. Clerks was shot on film. It was shot in black and white. This was shot in color and on digital. And so there's a coolness factor that immediately goes away. Also, if you have not seen Clerks 1 or Clerks 2, this movie's not going to mean a whole lot to you because there's so many callbacks, so many returning characters. I will say the only thing I really liked about Clerks, I'm looking up just because I need to get the name, was the character Blockchain Coltrane. It's the guy who shows up. He's part of the Christian crypto club. And when Randall gets his heart attack, he denies God and becomes a Satanist. And then his character just changes throughout the movie. And I really hated the character at the beginning, but I really started to embrace that character near the end. But other than that, it is what it is. It's an homage to the View Askew universe. And there you go. That's Clerks 3.
Is it like Endgame, like the portals scene where every character comes back at the end?
Not like that, but a lot of characters do come back, and like I said, even the dead ones.
Okay, well then the other thing I would ask is about it, because I haven't seen it. Like, basically, you have to be a super fan of Clerks 1 and 2 to actually enjoy Clerks 3.
I think you have to be a Kevin Smith super fan as well.
Right. And then do they actually show pieces of the Clerks movie? Do they cast like younger characters or younger actors to play them young?
Yeah, thankfully, no. Thankfully,
they don't?
No.
Wait, they play themselves?
Yeah, but they're tricks. There are tricks behind that.
So there's a movie within the movie. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, let me say this one. It is not a movie within a movie, but the movie is Clerks that they're making. And you have to watch it for that to make sense, but it will make sense. It doesn't bog itself down with trying to make Clerks. It really tips its hand at the end of the movie. It's really about the friendship between Randall and Dante at this point.
Gotcha. All right. Well, would you recommend Clerks 3? Because it's I think it comes in.
Yeah, if you're a fan of Clerks and Kevin Smith, I would recommend it. For everyone else, I don't think you're going to really understand what's going on in this movie.
But like Alan, you see a lot of movies. I think you see more movies than I do.
Yeah.
Okay,
look, the reason I'm not excited about it is I think this movie lost the edge that I liked in the first Clerks movie. This becomes what I feel like I've always felt like the evolution of Kevin Smith is that he became less cool over time. And I feel like this movie is an indication of that.
Well, is it sort of a self-insert? It's like, I'm going to be a filmmaker. Like, to me, some of the worst films, like whenever I hear a filmmaker talk about like I'll be at a film festival and some filmmaker's like, yeah, I made a movie. It's about a filmmaker. And I'm like, no one cares. No one cares about a movie about, I mean, like, unless it's someone famous or it's a documentary, fine, whatever. But it's like a small indie filmmaker and the lead character in your movie is a filmmaker. I always cringe and try to avoid those movies because I know they're going to be bad. But what are your thoughts on that? Does it feel like is a little like autobiographical? Like,
not really. And see what you're asking me is my whole point about this movie. There's not much clever about it. There's not much other than the memories of Clerks, Jay and Silent Bob. There's nothing really clever behind it. There's nothing that really, it's not satire. It's just kind of, hey, let's bring the gang together and make a final movie.
Okay, but also just the story seems a little bit like Kevin's life. He did suffer a heart attack, where he did almost pass away. It kind of changed him, and the heart attack, I mean, he just started caring more about his health. And he's got that sort of gaunt, looks too skinny for his body type, like a lot of people in Hollywood. When you see them, you're like, oh, you look very unhealthily skinny.
Yeah.
Right?
But at the same time, he just had a heart attack, and so I'll let him pass on that one.
But this is what happens with Randall in the movie. He has a heart attack, and he's like, I want to be a filmmaker.
Yeah, but it's about it's not about your health. It's not about Randall's health. It's about fulfilling that dream of becoming a filmmaker. That's more Randall's motivation than surviving the heart attack.
Well, my understanding my understanding is the movie is not getting a traditional release. It's like one of those like Fathom Events things. So it's opening.
Yeah, it's definitely going through Fathom Events, and then it'll most likely go to VOD, which I think says a lot about the quality of the film. That I don't think it's suitable for the theater. I don't think it's got enough mojo behind it to draw people to the theater. And I think Fathom Events is probably the best way to see it.
But if you do want to see it, I think it's next Tuesday.
Yeah, if I were to guess,
next Tuesday. So, all right. Well, there you go. Your mileage may vary. Alan, do you recommend Clerks 3?
Again, if you are a fan of Kevin Smith, yes. If you're not, no.
I want to know what Alan thinks.
No, I'm a moderate fan of Kevin Smith. I think he's done good stuff. I did like Clerks. I did like a few of the movies along the way. I've just never been this kind of, I get him. I just, I think he seems a little overrated.
All right. Here we go. Let's go to some comments here. Fuzzy says, I've got a screenplay of a guy who has to review bad indie films. Sounds good. Gunho Mac, Kevin Smith outed himself as a fake nerd. And then Dragon Balls says he just constantly spouting the woke talking points and whining about the trendy complaint du jour. So Mavis Beacon. Oh, I took your typing.
Oh, hey, Mavis.
I love Mavis Beacon.
I'm giving you money.
Doesn't help that he wears the same size clothes from before the heart attack. He does look a little like he's going to get his fifth grade school pictures. It's picture day in fifth grade, and he's just wearing those clothes.
Yeah.
I mean, you do see.
I will give him a pass. He had a heart attack, and he wants to live. And so, yeah, be skinny, please. Live forever.
I'm going to go through these comments about Kevin Smith. We're going to go through some of them. We're going to get back on. We've got some other movies to talk about here. Infinite Main, Kevin Smith killed He-Man twice and replaced him with She-Man. He's dead to me now. Fair enough. Patrick Lemire, my favorite Kevin Smith is when he tells stories about making films rather than the films themselves. He's so insufferable now. He's seen my last dollar. Okay. Thomas Tulak, I really don't understand all this Kevin Smith hate, guys. A lot of people still like him and his movies. And there are so many other things to rally against, like Rings of Power.
Yeah. I don't hate him. I'm just not, I think I felt like this movie was a little more safe. I mean, there was certainly nothing safe about Clerks, Mallrats.
Well,
Chasing Amy, even.
If you
I feel
wanted
like
to,
it's safe.
if you wanted to cancel Kevin Smith, he's got plenty of movies.
Chasing Amy.
I mean, there are plenty of movies you could watch, and you could, if you wanted to be offended, you can be offended. I am not going to be offended.
Yeah, I'm
But-
more on board with the offensive Kevin Smith than I am with where he is now.
Aaron Gray, movies about movies are chauvinistic and always suck. Phil W. met Kevin Smith and the entire cast of Clerks in Orlando. I'll tell you what, those guys know how to take care of their fans. Their line was packed, went to the extra mile for the fans. Yeah, I do know that. Like people have even said like Kevin Smith stalks his own fans. He does care about the fans. Maybe just a little too much, from the, like he is kind of thin-skinned. And especially when fans, I don't think that there's criticism that isn't, they're valid criticisms. The He-Man thing, which I actually don't really care all that much about.
Mm-hmm.
I was never a He-Man fan, so didn't really matter to me. That cartoon annoyed me when I was a kid because I'm like, this is just a commercial for toys. Wake up, kids. It's just a commercial for toys. You're being lied to. But there are people who love He-Man, and I respect that. That's fine. But yeah, you're right. Kevin Smith will stop and take a picture with anybody and have a conversation. So there you go. And John Wahlbacker, I'm looking forward to it. Clerks was important to me as a kid. Clerks 2 as I was becoming a man, and I'm hoping Clerks 3 will hit me where I am today. It's like growing up with these characters. I plan to see Clerks 3. I don't care what Alan says. I will see Clerks 3, and I will tell you if Alan was right.
Yeah, you make a good point here. There is that growth. They were kids in Clerks, becoming man. This one, they're our age basically. they're old guys.
They're old.
Yeah.
Want Biscuits. If there was a Clerks movie I'd watch, it would be an animated version of Blunt Man and Chronic with a very comic book feel a la Sin City. That would be fun. Patrick Lemire, what is it about losing a lot of weight that makes people unfunny? Kevin Smith, Jimmy Kimmel, Penn Jillette, Drew Carey. I see a trend.
I'm not sure the weight has anything to do with it.
It's a sequel of a sequel of a sequel. Those normally fail. Third movies is hard.
Yeah.
Even The Dark Knight Rises didn't quite stick the landing. Return of the Jedi. I had problems with Return of the Jedi when I saw it in the theater. I've grown to appreciate parts of it, but to me, it's not everything I wanted it to be.
It's missing a lot of the edge from the early film and those OMG moments of I can't believe that just happened. It's not there.
So it's Kevin Smith playing it safe.
Yeah.
Bass player 2011ify, Clerks is overrated. Scotty says nostalgia bait, but pretty much sums up Kevin Smith's movies after Mallrats. Tila kills Silent Bob with He-Man's sword, says Gun-Ho Mac. Jillian N. Kevin Smith's coolness factor has been dying out for decades. And Jillian, thank you for being a member. Marby Dog says Kevin Smith gets no more of my money. Okay. Same thing with Yosef Productions. Kevin Smith won't get any of my cash. Okay, I get it.
Don't give me any money then. Don't.
Yeah. Not the Batman says, I do find it funny that Hollywood is never going to let Smith direct a superhero movie, no matter how many sets he visits and cries on, and he was just regulated as CW stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah. CD Stein 69 for $4.99 says Kevin Smith has turned into the thing he always said he made his movies against. He has kind of become co-opted into the system. He's not there. And I was having this conversation with this guy, Jack, who I met at the John Williams concert on Sunday, which was a blast. That John Williams concert, he's 90 years old. He played music from Indiana Jones 5. Yeah, Kevin Smith was alternative, and but what I admire about Kevin is he has built this audience, and he is responsive to fans, but I think that he doesn't respond well to criticism.
Yeah.
So
I guess the question would be could he make Clerks and Mallrats today? And if the answer is no, could he explain why? Because we all know why he can't make it, but is he willing to accept that it couldn't happen?
Patrick Lemire brings up a good point. Only 11 likes? Smash that like button. Yeah, absolutely. Smash it. And Julian N is a member. Being a member is the best. Thank you, Chris and Alan. Well, this weekend, Alan's going to have special coverage direct from D23. Dracamos says Kevin Smith's Superman movie would have been good.
It sounded good.
Infinite Main, Kevin Smith is dead to me now. Snoochie Boochies says Ferd Turgeson. And we'll go through a couple more comments here, but I want to switch gears to another movie. C.D. Stein, 69. Namor was supposed to be ancient Greek, and so the MCU made him Latino for diversity. And then Bert for 2 says, wink, wink, the black guy playing drums in RRR. That's right. There's all the white, the British, all white actors. And then, there's a black actor who plays the drums during the Natu Natu dance number. So there you go. And yeah, Shelby AC, this is true. The Oscars have started enforcing racial quotas. Wow, as Norm would say, that's some commie nonsense. Yeah, it's weird. Like, to be eligible for an Oscar now, you have to have a certain number of people both in front of and behind the camera. You can look it up. Actually, it's on the Oscar website.
So would Parasite would have been able to qualify?
Yeah, and Andrew Odetta says they don't want to race swap the guy who made the atom bomb.
That's true.
But we're going to switch gears here, and we're going to wrap it up with House of the Dragon and more Rings of Power talk at the end, I promise. But God, we had so many to talk about. We might have to save these for Friday. Let's talk about My Son Hunter. Now, okay, so we have to set up a little context here. Alan, do you want to do the honors of setting up the context of this?
Yeah. So if you were with us on Friday, you know that when I woke up, my phone was kind of blowing up with notifications. And apparently someone who runs our Instagram account, I believe that's you, Chris, posted the poster of My Son Hunter. And from there, we started getting a lot of comments about how Film Threat has become a fascist organization supporting Breitbart propaganda. And all we do is post a poster. And I will say thank you to all of you who watch and went over there, liked the post, made comments. Greatly appreciated, and we thank you for that. And to me, in my mind, I wasn't sure if I was going to review My Son Hunter, but after all that, I'm like, no, how can I not? I'm not going to let people bully me into what I can and cannot review. We've always said it. We're politically agnostic. We will review everything. And we review this movie, and we have watched this movie. And so we are going to talk about it. But I just cannot get past this gatekeeping, telling me what I can review and what I can't review, and giving me labels because we posted a damn poster. So here we go. Do you want to start, or do you?
You can go to the Film Threat Instagram. It's just Film Threat, and there's a thread. You'll see if you scroll down. We just post
even the Facebook page,
Facebook page. So we just post movie posters because what is Instagram? Instagram is visual. I love movie posters. I collect movie posters. Our social media for Twitter is different. We just post our reviews and content, kind of what we're up to. Our Instagram, it's kind of like what we're up to. We're at a film festival. Here's some movie. It's 90% mostly movie posters or weird videos and whatnot. But yeah, we are politically agnostic. And this whole thing of telling us we can or can't review something, I think is ridiculous.
Accusing us of things just because we posted a poster.
Yeah, making an assumption about how Alan and I think politically based on, that. I mean, I posted it because I thought it was, one, a funny poster, and two, if you've seen the trailer, it just looks like a bad exploitation movie. And let me kick it off to say, the trailer is exactly what you would think it would be. It's a really bad exploitation movie that is about Hunter Biden and all of his dealings. Everything you've kind of have heard about Hunter Biden's dealings and his business with his father, the big guy, and how things went down, how they ran the business. It's all there. They do this interesting thing where they kind of stop and talk at the camera. So they'll stop for a minute, and characters like Gina Carano plays a Secret
Service agent.
A Secret Service agent that's guarding Joe Biden, and she'll stop and look at the camera, directly at the camera, and kind of tell you like what's in her head or what's really going on.
Which is what they did in The Big Short, basically.
Yeah, kind of like that style. They'll also stop the movie and they'll do like fact check. And they'll do a little fact check. I will say this, that Gina Carano's fine in the movie, and the guy who plays Hunter Biden is actually not bad.
Yeah, Lawrence Fox.
Yeah, he kind of looks like Hunter Biden. The guy who plays Joe Biden is sort of he looks enough like Joe Biden. He pulls it off fine. Yeah. What I found to be awful were every other actor in the movie. There's like these people online kind of having a conversation. This guy and her boyfriend, and they're kind of talking, or these two protesters at a BLM protest. They kind of just like speak the narrative kind of out loud. Like, don't post that. It'll make this riot look bad.
And there's a reporter. There's a reporter who's kind of a main player in it as well. And she's you get the sense that this was a toxic movie, and it took a certain type of person who said, okay, I'm willing to be in this movie and take the heat that they're going to get for being in it. And so I think that's the reflection you get in the casting.
Well, it's directed by Robert Davi, and it's really wants to be Scorsese. It wants to be Goodfellas. It wants to be, and the weird thing is there are scenes in strip clubs. They don't hold anything back. There's scenes in strip clubs. There's Hunter doing drugs. There is, it's just like every bad thing you've heard, like from whatever is leaked of that laptop, like it goes into losing the laptop. It goes into the 2020 election. Like, it doesn't hold anything back. It tells all that. But
it goes into the his business dealings in the Ukraine and with China,
right.
and the potential influence that these deals got because of Biden being vice president at the time. If you watch Fox News and other right-wing media, they're just painting the narrative that you hear about Hunter Biden and Joe Biden from that.
Yeah. So yeah, it's in other hands, I think this would have been an interesting, let's say if like Scorsese made this movie 5 years from now. I think part of it is they're making it like, it's one of those where it's just like, wait, this just happened. They'll make, something happens in the news, a story, and then suddenly like just a year or two later, here it is, a movie. So they're kind of jumping on that. They're taking advantage of that. This is in the zeitgeist. It aspires to be like Scorsese and kind of hip, cool, like this sort of it actually, what's so funny? It makes Hunter Biden look cool because it makes him look like, I'm doing all these drugs. I'm hanging out with all these women. Oh, I fell in love. How could I love this girl? Like you actually kind of feel for him, but it's all done on a low budget. It's Scorsese light. It's totally exploitation. Almost looks like, this company, The Asylum, when they make movies like Sharknado, part of it feels like that. Am I wrong? It feels very low budget for what they're aspiring to be. Like they want to be like this hip crime, film. And it's not that because they just don't have the money. And
at the same time, I felt like on the other side, this reminds me of Vice.
Right.
It's a very much a hit piece. This is Vice, but with a much smaller budget, but just as angry as Vice was. So, look, I can't recommend this film. I think it's just cheesy. It's bad, but I like that it was actually made. The idea that this was made. It used to be that you'd make. I don't know how we make movies about presidents these days. It used to be that after someone was president, there'd be a movie made about the most recent president, just kind of put their presidency in perspective. There were a couple films made about Bill Clinton. John Travolta played him in one. There were others that focus on different aspects of Bill Clinton. I like Sam Rockwell playing W. But I don't know that in the current political climate, you could even make like a narrative feature about a political figure now without it being somehow incredibly divisive. We just got hate from Vice. Vice was probably the most recent example.
Right. That's the most recent example. It's not about W, but but yeah, no, I admire that. It's like, oh, cool. This got made. It's pretty bad. Like the scene where the two girls are at the BLM protest and you can tell they didn't have enough protesters. You can hear them. They use footage from the news and they show them kind of we're at the protest, and they're total they're like a parody of what someone thinks that someone on the left looks like.
Yeah.
But they're central casting, so they're like good-looking actresses, but dressed like, they're at a protest. It's kind of weird.
I have to say though, but I mean, if any of the critics who went on to that post were right, this is propaganda. It's very one-sided.
Right.
There's no pretension that they're trying to be balanced. They're going. This is a Joe Biden, Hunter Biden hit piece, 100%. And again, like I'll liken it to Vice. That was a hit piece on W and Dick Cheney, no doubt about it. And there was no attempt to humanize them or make them feel sympathetic whatsoever. And at the same time, if the left wants to make a Don Jr. movie, My Son Don Jr., fine, go ahead. We'll watch it. We'll review it. We'll probably post the poster if it's cool looking. This is my issue with the movie from a story standpoint. It is heavily one-sided, and that's not the kind of films I want to see. I know I'm being preached to. I know I'm being told, the version, these are the facts, and here's my interpretation of the facts. Right. I get it, and it happens, and it's propaganda, just as Vice was propaganda as well.
Right, but it also, like, some aspects of it, like they give Hunter Biden warts and all, like illicit sex, drugs, all of that stuff, and
I think they make Joe look a little too good, if I were to say.
No, I don't think it makes them look, well, whatever. Like,
yeah,
look,
not that we want to go in that arena, but
this is an exploitation movie.
Absolutely.
That's what it is. And that's what you're getting.
There are strippers and dancers, and
it's you know what it is? It's Hunter Biden's laptop, the motion picture. That's what it is. And I think it's on video on demand, but hey, is there going to be a review on the website so people
I'm writing it now. I'm hoping to get up tomorrow. The other thing you mentioned was now I forgot. So
well, then there you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, so let's go to comments here. Let's go to comments on this. Wait, where am I?
There.
Sorry, folks. Comments.
Yeah, go to comments.
John Walbecker for 5. Interesting. The complaints about keeping politics out of entertainment went away in chat once you started talking about my son Hunter. Interesting.
Yeah.
But it's just like, look, this is a movie that's out. I don't think any other outlet, I don't know if any YouTubers have reviewed it or discussed it yet.
No, yeah. Like I said, I think on Rotten Tomatoes, it'll be us and Christian Toto will be the only reviews.
Typical. Read by Nature is a member. Thank you for that. You need restraint for satire. Agreed.
Yeah, that's the other thing. That satire. This movie is so one-sided that the humor doesn't come across. It just becomes like literally hate. And I find that if humor that's based on hate is rarely funny. And I found that throughout this entire film. Yeah.
And Solomon Thornton, there have been so many political satire films in history, going back to Chaplin playing Hitler. That's true.
Yeah, Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck were very anti-Hitler, and there's some short films about that.
Yeah, there are. Like during World War II, like a lot, both Disney and Looney Tunes like made World War II, basically World War II.
Well, they made propaganda films. Yeah, U.S. propaganda films, and Disney has pulled those. You cannot get a hold of any of the Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck propaganda films.
Andrew Eterno says there were 100 million Bill Clinton impressions and not one film. Yeah, there was a film. There were a couple, actually.
I can't think of them, but I know that it has to be. Oh, Wag the Dog. Wag the Dog.
RMFX says, big surprise they released something like this before an election. Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. Patrick Lemire, it would have been much better as a real doc. No need to embellish. But even those documentaries, I personally would rather see a documentary. The problem is that because we get a lot of documentaries now, and the documentaries are so one-sided. They're either left-wing or right-wing. It's very rare to see a balanced documentary that covers politics. Alan, can you even think of? I can think of one, The Accidental President.
In fact, I just saw one. It's called. Here, give me a second. I just reviewed it yesterday, and I can't remember the name of it. So I'm pulling up our website. Oh, This Land. This Land. It's executive produced by Jim Cummings, who did the beta test. And his whole thing was he takes a point in time, which is the election, the Biden-Trump election night, and he shows basically a broad sweep of Americans who are on both sides, and shows the nuance and humanity that we have, that hopefully we're not as divided as we think we are, and that we do share a lot. And one of the subjects in the film is a gay couple. It's a white liberal who's married to a black conservative. And this movie just kind of shows you the nature of where this debate and what's done to families, and how politics has really made it difficult for us to have normal relationships with people anymore. And it's all strictly based on politics. It's a well balanced movie showing both sides of the argument and both sides of the aisle. So that's on VOD now. This Land.
Okay, so that's one that I'll have to check out. Maybe we should review This Land on a future episode. Yellow Flash too. Shout out to Yellow Flash, who does Flashcast on Saturdays, which is quickly becoming the Howard Stern show with lofty pixels on there. I'm passing on this. I just got the 4K Star Trek movies. Those are what I'm watching right now. Oh, that's great. Jillian N says, so it's kind of like SNL has become very one-sided. Yeah. It is. It's like SNL is very I don't like stuff that's like super one-sided. Yeah. It's so
well, I mean, Trump is racist is not a punchline. And that's what these shows have become. It's Trump is, by the way, Primary Colors. That's the movie that satires Bill Clinton.
Yeah. John Orchard for 5 says, why didn't they just make The Emperor Wears No Clothes parody? People enjoy subtlety, not being hit in the face by either side. Agreed. Big Roge for $1.99 super sticker. Thank you for that, Big. Infinite Main says, looks like a fun movie to make, but not so much to watch.
I mean, it preaches to the choir. It's not going to convert anybody.
It's not going to convert anybody. Yeah, I don't think the fact that we got hassled just for the poster, I mean, whatever. Like, I don't know. I'm very open-minded to stuff and kind of feel like, Retro Nerd Girl, I kind of like those low-budget, trashy movies. It's a guilty pleasure. This movie, you could enjoy it as a guilty pleasure. You could enjoy it that way. Shelby AC, the photos they got off the laptop of Hunter Biden and his liaisons with Ladies of the Night seem pretty real. His life certainly seems like a 70s exploitation film. That's kind of the approach they took to the movie.
And I get the frustration that the filmmakers had. You know, what do we know of the laptop? What do we know of the Biden's relationship with the Ukraine? It's being hidden for some reason. And I think they're trying to just bring that out and call it out, shed some light on it. So I get it. I get why this movie exists.
CD Stein 69 for $9.99 says, gotta say, poster wise, I thought it had a cool Sex Pistols feel to it. Was nice to see the chat go after the trolls on Instagram. Good or bad, no place for stupid web warriors trying to enforce their will. That's something that, I don't like to be bullied into. Film Threat shouldn't be doing this. Film Threat should. Here's my response. Fuck you. Do your own Film Threat. This is what I'm doing. If you don't like it, you don't have to read it. You don't have to watch it. You can do whatever you want. It's okay. But we are also open to people who have different points of view. We're not going to enforce a certain way that everyone should think. We've got many types of opinions in here, and I love that. I love that about our chat, so thank you. Spidey Sensei 72 says, is it based on actual facts or merely speculation? It's based on what have been reported facts I've seen in stories. I don't know that they played loose with it. Like, there were no surprises when I was watching the film. Like, they'll just stop and say fact. So somebody lies in the movie, they say, or they have a scene, and then they just it's
I mean, the laptop, the Ukraine deal, the China deal, we know those facts exist there, and they're kind of filling in the gaps there in a very conservative way.
Bucks fan 77 for 2 says, say hi to my mom, Lois. Hello, Lois. How's it going, Mom? Love it.
Hello, Lois.
There you go. Anonymous Crow, good on you guys for being willing to give it an honest review. Yeah, I was going to say, just because we put the poster on our Instagram is not an endorsement of the movie. It's like, this movie exists. Kind of a weird I think it's just weird that it exists, that they got it out like that quickly.
Yeah.
But it sounds like a terrible movie. Look, yes, it is pretty terrible. But you guys watching and reviewing is how we push back against the censors and moralists and zealots.
Then again, we did have to watch the movie. So.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I was sort of like, wait, am I? But like there were parts I enjoyed, and I'm like, oh, I'm enjoying this because it's bad. Like I'm enjoying it because it's like cheesy. Yeah. Solomon Thornton, film threat is what America used to be, talking to one another and not allowing views and politics ruining friendships. Mm-hmm. And Alan Horkin says, I'm getting too old. Chris swearing and dropping F-bombs disappoints me.
Oh,
wait, should I not? I should, you know what? I should hold back.
Fuck that. I mean, really.
Now, when I get worked up, I do swear, but it's unnecessary. I agree with Alan, actually. Other Alan, not you, Alan. I don't agree with you all. Sarkshi says, I'm totally on board with a movie like this existing. I'm sick of the mountains left-wing stuff. That's the thing that surprises me. It's just like, if you look at our feed, it's like there's gay films and documentaries and lots of like women posters and horror films. And like, we post one poster, one that is
what you should have done was immediately post Vice after it and then just kind of balance it
off.
Yeah,
I should have done that. Like, but like, yeah, it's like, I'm sick of the mountains of left-wing stuff. Brings balance to parodies, but your point is perfectly valid and understandable. Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit of nuance.
Did I say this? Infinite Main looks like a fun movie to make, but not so fun to watch. Want Biscuit. Yeah. Breaking the fourth wall is best when used exceedingly sparingly, not like it's used in She-Hulk. Well, we'll have another She-Hulk conversation, I'm sure, at some point. Matt W is a member. Thank you for that. Say what you want. We're adults. I shouldn't swear too much. Soylent Green is people, says Fuzzy for $1.99. John Orchard for 20 says, I like Gina. I hope she doesn't get typecast because of these types of movies. Here's a hint. Hunter Biden does drugs. Shocked. I'm shocked to find this out. Haha. Keep reviewing movies. Keep going, you guys. So
you sound like as if they caught him doing that on film for some reason.
Yeah. Clever invective. Movie sounds preachy. Fits in perfectly with Hollywood. Yeah, that's the thing. It's sort of like, it does seem like disingenuous and hypocritical when this is maybe one, type of preachy movie. It's like, well, both can coexist, can't they? So, yeah. Whenever you feel the need to swear, just get up and start twerking instead, says Dragon Balls. You do not want to see me twerk. That is not good. That's not good for anybody. Gina Carano is not a very good actress. Same with Kevin Smith's daughter, Harley. I believe in their ability to improve, but they have to rethink their approach, says Andrew Eterno. I have boxes, says, I have a desktop background. Gina sniffed by Joe.
Yeah, there's a moment in the movie where he sniffs her. I think he grabs her ass too.
Here's the thing, like there's tons of video of Joe Biden doing it. Like when I watch this movie, I'm like, it doesn't seem out of the realm of possibility of this stuff happening, just because nothing in the movie surprised me. I don't feel like I did not learn anything that I didn't already see on Twitter. I'm sorry. Like, there you go. CD Stein 69 for $4.99 says many political movies are generally one-sided, but they've made them for both sides. But I seriously doubt we'll ever see an Obama administration critical film. Yeah, wasn't there a movie about like Obama's first date with Michelle? It's like their first date or something.
Oh yeah,
it looked insane. I watched the trailer and I'm like, yeah, I don't care about this. It just looked overly sentimental.
Yeah, well, there was such a love affair when Obama became president. Like someone was just kind of gushing over him working out at the gym and was talking about how his body looked, and that's how people looked at Obama at that time.
I heard he's good at basketball. He's good at basketball. Clever Invective says film threat bears the burden of crap films for us. Sometimes we have to. Alan, I'm going to take a quick break and I'm going to grab some water. Could you continue with the super chats? Start from the bottom and go up, and then I'll be right back.
Okay. I don't see any super chats, but
just the starred comments.
Okay, no problem. Alan, Gun Ho Mac. Alan shall not be denied. No one puts baby in a corner. That's right. Going on. John Walbacher, welcome back. Hating on Film Threat for posting movie posters or even talking about any movie is stupid. If they review something, you should disagree, engage, not disparage at the mere concept of posting is dumb. Yeah, it's the weird thing. It's what used to happen is if a movie like this came out, all the critics in the world will come out and just give it a bad review, and it'll get 2% on Rotten Tomatoes. But now we've gotten to the point where even reviewing the film is seen as supporting, we put the poster up and we got accused of being Breitbart, sympathizers. We started being accused of being paid by Breitbart along with Disney and Amazon and everyone else. Movies like this, I don't know why critics just don't go in, give it a bad review because they hate Trump, and then just go on with it to bash someone for a poster, and we're going to give it a negative review, but we'll probably get heat for just posting the negative review and getting it on, drawing attention to it, I guess. Jillian N. Obama / Michelle movie is called Southside and painted them both as saints. Jan, yeah. Southside, thank you for that. I remember that movie. But yeah, there's that balance there. You can go way too far on the good side and way too far on the bad side. There's got to be balance. You've got to have people who have flaws, who are imperfect. Patrick Lemire. Gina Carano is finished. Aside from niche projects, she'll be blackballed forever, which I think is why she did this. The sense I got was, F it, she's going to be in this movie, and she did. Shucksy, I agree with Alan. The more people tell me I can't do anything, the more I want to do it out of spite. Absolutely. There was a fence that I walked with watching and reviewing this movie, and that just kind of sent me over. I had to. You can't bully Alan. You can buy his review. I'm looking at you. You can buy his review. I'm looking at you, Disney. Yeah. I mean, Disney has been very good to me. I've been a fan for my entire life. Jillian N. Typical contemporary reaction. Something I don't like or even that challenges my worldview equals fascism. Yeah, you bring up something that has been bothering me for a long time, but we're just redefining words. We're redefining what fascism is. We're redefining what racism is. We're redefining what great is. Let's see. Clever invective. Good film courage right here. All right, thank you. John, a long last name. How dare you post a poster advertising movies that are coming out? What do you think you are? Movie reviews? Yeah. No, the funny thing is we told you about My Son Hunter. I mean, we got screeners. We didn't pay for it. You vote with your dollars. That's all I say. Not the Batman. You can make satirical movies about Bush, Cheney, Trump, but not Hunter. Yeah. That to me, that's the litmus test for anything that's political. If you could swap names and ideas out for the opposite side and see what the reaction would be, then you're being political. If this movie were My Son Don Jr., the left would probably be going nuts over it and encouraging everybody to see it. What's on the other side, we're being encouraged the exact opposite. You're being political at that point. Hey, Chris, welcome back.
Hey, sorry, I had to use the restroom real quick. Tried to be quick, and I got a fresh water.
Yeah, Southside was the name of the Obama Michelle movie.
Yeah, I just remember seeing the trailer and going, I don't want to. Wait, where are you? Have you unstarred the comments you've already done?
No, I'm doing that now, but you can keep going up, and I'll get the ones.
I see 48 likes, but that's still too low, people. Yeah, we've got like 400 people watching. How are there only 48 likes? Come on. Smash that like button and subscribe to the, everything they say. Subscribe to the channel, all of it.
Oh, wow.
There you go. But let's go through some of these more of these comments at the bottom. I don't know which ones you did. Gina should just go fake wrestle in the WWF like Ronda Rousey for money. I think she did talk about maybe doing a fight at some point.
Well, no, I think he's saying she should become a professional wrestler.
Yeah.
And then you could see a Ronda Rousey Gina Carano fight.
CD Stein 69, the critics don't review movies like this. Unlike you guys at Film Threat, most critics are PC cowards. That really does concern me because Alan and I are both part of a critics organization called the CCA, which is the Critics' Choice Awards. And I think if you scroll down through the Film Threat Instagram, you'll see photos of Alan and I at the awards. Are we both? No, I'm wearing a tux and you're in a blazer.
But at the CCA?
Correct.
No, well, technically that's my tux.
Is that your tux?
Yeah, it does look more like a suit, but it is a
tux.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm surprised. So we're part of this organization. It's like over 400 critics, and they don't see. I feel like I have this obligation. Well, a movie is out, good or bad, we'll review it. I mean, we reviewed My Son Hunter. We're discussing it. It's not a very good film, but it's your choice whether to spend your money on it. You can not. So I don't understand. Like, even if, let's say, you're on one side of the political aisle, well, then just review the movie and be honest about it. I don't get it. I do not get it. So there you go. Read by Nature. Gina was already blacklisted. I couldn't see her walking it back to eventually work in Hollywood again. Yeah, she'll more than likely not work in Hollywood again. Shuxy says, Chris, refresh. It's 371. Oh, good. Thank you for that, Shuxy. And John Orchard is a new member. Thank you for that. Want Biscuit says, Carano's only issue that I can see is that she may be typecast also. Not her fault. Hollywood has a way of forcing that on actors, but now being on the outside allows her to build her range. That's great. Film Threat bears the burden of crap films for all of us. Says clever invective. Thanks. Typical contemporary reaction, something I don't like or even that challenges my worldview equals fascism, says Jillian N. Yeah, it's weird. Like, I like to read stuff like, oh, I don't really agree with, I want to see what the whole idea is behind this. So, okay, this is funny. Jack T. Ripper says, I'm Canadian. So you've got no dog in this fight. Maybe you have a little dog.
A little dog.
A little dog. I love Canada. I used to love going there for the Toronto Film Festival. Now it's become more difficult to travel to that country. But Jackie Ripper says, I'm Canadian. I watched the trailer for Hunter and the trailer for Hillary's new show on Apple TV Plus, Gutsy. They both look so cringe. You're not wrong. I saw that Gutsy trailer. Wow, does that look bad? But, the Hunter Biden, My Son Hunter trailer movie looked bad too. Like, should we review Gutsy, Alan?
Isn't it a talk show or something like that?
It's like a reality show that I never want to. It's Hillary Clinton and Chelsea, her daughter, going around and meeting powerful women, and it just looks. Yeah, watch the trailer. Okay, Jack D. Ripper speaking the truth here. Go see that trailer for Gutsy. It's just as cringe as the trailer for My Son Hunter. So.
Yeah.
There you go.
I have zero desire to see that.
Matt Hunter says, saying it's not a good film is not enough for the left, Mab. You must say it's propaganda. I think Alan said
it is propaganda. It is propaganda.
Yeah. Mexican Iron Man. Hey, Mike. Good to see you as a member. He says, smash that like button, subscribe. Consider also option to join channel membership. Yeah, Alan is going to be documenting his trip to D23 this weekend there.
Yeah.
John Walbecker says, support for reviewing anything and everything, thanks. And support for diverse views. When people use the word diversity, they mean something different. When we say diversity, I like diversity of opinion. If you read the Film Threat website, I promise you, there are people that I disagree with all the time. There'll be something where I give it a good review. There's a bad review on Film Threat and vice versa. This happens all the time. Patrick Lemire says it's another show that Apple will never release the poor numbers. Oh God, that looks, I don't know that is any Apple TV Plus show doing well.
Oh, Ted Lasso.
With the exception of that show. Maybe that one show, I don't know. There were, I don't know. Whoa. Jillian gifted subs. Akanika gifted subs. That's great. Jillian N. Oh, that's great. Wait, so who gifted the subs? Akanika or Jillian N? Okay, we'll find out.
Oh, I think Jillian N. I think,
oh, thanks, Jillian.
We have our system doesn't give us any indication that gifted subs occurred. So
John Wallbacker again for 5 says typical online reaction. Something I don't like and offends my personal worldview, but people and critics like shills were paid to like it. I can just say this, like they mentioned the whole shill thing. Like I think like Alan, like you get to see movies, you get advanced screenings of movies, and on occasion during award season you'll get some, but you're not like you don't get like invited to like. No, you did go to a world premiere once.
Yeah. Well, I got invited. Easter Sunday, that was the one, but I've been invited. I just haven't been able to go to them.
I don't know. We don't really.
Yeah, but it's like, it's fun to go to, but what does that really do?
All right, it's 3:00 right now. Yeah. Aaron Gray says Pinocchio without Claude Coates is.
Do you want to talk about Pinocchio real fast, or
you know what? I don't think we're gonna. I really want to go into a more in-depth review.
Okay.
On Friday, we're gonna. If I'm able to get up early enough, we're going to talk about episode 3 of Rings of Power. We're going to talk about Tom Hanks and Pinocchio. And we'll go full spoiler on Pinocchio. Okay. Because I don't care. And when I'm done, you're not going to care. Then we're also going to talk about a horror film called Barbarian. Justin Long is in this film. And, I think there'll be a new She-Hulk.
Yeah, there'll be a new She-Hulk episode. It'll be the
already
fourth one with
discussed
Madison.
it.
Yeah, Madison shows up.
Yeah, Madison. We'll discuss Madison. So that's what we'll be talking about on Friday. We're going to wrap it up because we've gone 2 hours here. We'll get to our final comments. Try to get through these. I'm going to start from the top. If you could unstar the comments we've already done, Alan. And I want to thank you. I really look forward to spending time and hanging out with you. I know I've been doing some other shows. I do Midnight's Edge in the morning on Mondays, which is really fun because they let me not be on camera. Like I'm not on, they don't care. And so I can kind of go through my email while I'm on Midnight's Edge. I'm kind of like half working on stuff. So yeah, a Basic Expert says, I don't think the writers of Rings of Power are even fans though. It doesn't sound like they're legit fans. It just doesn't. Not when you look at like someone like Peter Jackson. Want Biscuits says, one reason writing sucks bad nowadays is because everyone is living in virtual lives on Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, etc., and not as much in the real world around real people. So they only know virtual stories. Good, fair point. And the other thing is, I saw this thing. This sounds weird. There is a shortage of men being friends with other men. This is true. For younger men, adult males, they have fewer male friends that they count as friends. Okay. So I have a lot of male friends. Some of my male friendships go back like 30 plus years. My friend David E. Williams that was there at the beginning of Film Thread. God, I met Dave. He wrote me a letter when he was in college at SFSU, San Francisco State University, in 1987. He was reading Film Threat magazine, sent me a letter, and we've been friends ever since. And that is 35 years ago. Among other friends. So I have a lot of friends. Not necessarily every coworker. But I was seeing if I could get a reaction out of Alan for that one. But when people I work with, Alan and I are friends. I don't think I can work with someone and not be friends with them or interested in their personal life or interested in their well-being. You know what I mean? If I work with someone, it's like, and I hate the term boss or like I work for, some people have said, oh yeah, I work for Chris. No. We work together. We're a team. I'm just the loudest one. Yeah. And the
you're
one
still the boss. I mean,
what's that?
You're still the boss.
Well, I do all the stuff that I know, I do a lot of stuff that I know no one wants to do because I have to do it.
And I know you don't like micromanaging and
I hate
or having your hand in everything.
But that's a good thing because I trust Alan. We've worked together now for almost 5 years now. It's got to be like
it's over 5 years.
Over 5 years. It's like once I was, but Alan, you have to admit, I was way more micromanaging in the beginning.
Yeah. Well, there wasn't a lot. So
no, but I was like this. I would give you notes.
Yeah, we've grown a lot. Believe me, we've grown a lot.
Have almost like, I don't know, like, and all the problems we have is it's like whatever normal problems of running a website and doing this, like they're just normal problems. They're not like, but yeah, I can't in the last like year, it's just like this is like smooth sailing. All right, let's go through these comments here. Patrick Lemire, I've noticed that in the book world, older writers are sought after, whereas in film, let's give the keys to Skippy. Yeah, that's true.
I mean, Kenobi is a great example of that. They should have gone to a veteran filmmaker or television producer, and it went to a kid.
Phil Gone says, Chris, Alan, you need that clip of the raptor from Jurassic Park 3 saying, Alan. Yeah, can we get that?
Can we get it and not get copyright strikes on it?
Keep getting that. Schalk Engelbrecht says, with the budget of Rise of Power, they could have made with the budget of Rings of Power, they could have made something great. How do you spend that much and not hire good writers and directors? That applies to Disney as well. Patrick Lemire, tech advances aren't advances. Everything looks like a video game now. True. Whoopi's rant saying that dragons and hobbits aren't real, it's fictional. By her argument, since it's fictional, then why would it matter if all cave-dwelling dwarves are white? It's fictional, right? Says not the Batman. Yeah. It's box checking for the Academy. You won't be qualified for an award without the forced diversity, says Old Dwarf 520. Yeah. It's,
honestly, I wanted to hear them rule on Parasite, whether Parasite could have been nominated or not.
I think those rules are awful. I think certainly encouraging it, that's not a bad thing, but
yeah. I mean, you understand why it's there, but to be, Yeah.
Aaron Gray, Return of the Crab King. Yeah. And Tyler Shelton, verified used to mean it was an actual person to differentiate between troll and parody accounts. True. There's before I got verified, there were a bunch of fake accounts of me, including one that was like actually trying to be me. I thought it was funny, and I collected like all the different ones. It was, at the time it was fun. This was the early days of Twitter when it was the Wild West. Now it's the Wild West by way of a shit show. Twitter is like being exposed to radiation. I go in to check something specific and get the GTFO, says Patrick Lemire. Ferd Turgeson, the music is so disappointing as well. Not one part of it has a standout theme. Yeah, I mean, I like Bear McCreary and is it Howard Shore?
Yeah, Howard Shore. Yeah. Howard Shore did the theme, and Bear McCreary did the episodes.
Zachary Bloom, when Pinocchio comes to life and sees Tom Hanks, he should run. Solomon Thornton, the reason why actors and studios are attacking fans is because they don't want to be held responsible for crappy writing they made. And Patrick Lemire, when you're creating a fantasy series, maybe go hire people who have written successful fantasy fiction. They might be old men. It's a risk you might take. Sometimes it is. Yeah. And from North Jersey, good to see you back from North Jersey. They don't care about diversity. They just care about too many white people being involved. Somehow I became less equal than equal in the last decade. It's just weird. It's sort of like that Who song, Meet the Old Boss, just the same as Meet the New Boss, just the same as the old boss. Like, I don't know. I really think it's just a battle for power. And I don't know. I think sort of the best entertainment wins, at least in this realm. So there you go.
Well, we're not getting the best entertainment. That's the problem.
Fuzzy, who's a member, says, I have a lot of male friends too. U.S. Postal Service, FedEx, and even UPS. Hey, the show started with a bad pun. It should end with a bad pun. I'm broke AF. How do I become an Amazon shill, says John Marston. Alan, how do you do that?
Like everything Amazon does, and be public about it.
Well, I can tell you that you haven't done that. And let's end with the positive here. Jillian gifted 5 subs, says Mexican Iron Man, who's also a member. I think we're gonna wrap it up there because I think we settled it. I think House of the Dragon is vastly more popular than the Rings of Power, which has gotten off to a terrible start. And I don't know if it'll be able to correct itself. When you've already committed to 5 seasons, I don't see how they right that ship. Do you think that's possible, Alan?
It's always, you can always change things and you can always make things better. The problem is you what you don't have is momentum. And if you destroy all your momentum in that first season, you could bring on the best people that second season and they're not going to come.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're going to have an interesting discussion. On Friday, we'll have an interesting discussion. We'll talk about the 3rd episode of The Rings of Power. I know that some YouTube channels are actually just staying up late. They're just going to do the stream like immediately after watching it.
Yeah, we actually did pretty good when we came back from the movie theater and talked about Rings of Power.
It was fine. We could end up doing that again. We're not going to do that. We're gonna have our normal Friday morning stream at 9 a.m. We're going to talk about Tom Hanks and Pinocchio. We're going to talk about this horror film, Barbarian. Great way to kick off the Halloween season. I got all my Halloween decorations out. I am ready to go. I am so excited. I have more Halloween decorations than Christmas decorations. I am stoked. It's a giant skull that I put in my patio area. It's going to be a blast. So we're going to talk about Barbarian. We'll discuss Pinocchio and what else? What
I will be on the floor of the D23 Expo.
Oh, that's right. Well, make sure to bring your AirPods, Alan, so you can hear us. We'll get a tour. Maybe find an interesting place you can stop. We can have these discussions. There's another movie coming out this weekend. Maybe I won't have time to see it, Alan. Can you go see the movie Medieval?
Medieval? Is that Thursday?
Thursday night.
Okay. I will make it a point.
I've seen Barbarian and I've seen Pinocchio. Can you watch Pinocchio before too as well?
It comes out on the 8th. That's tomorrow. I should be able to, yeah.
Pinocchio and Medieval, and then I'll watch Barbarian. We'll get it. So I just really want to hear, since you're a Disney shill.
Yeah.
I
will say I'm not a big fan of the original Pinocchio, so I don't have a lot of hopes for this one.
Okay, well, I have so many thoughts, and I really want to go into detail about it because this Pinocchio movie also is kind of like what's wrong with things now.
Okay.
It ties into the Rings of Power. It ties into all of that. So we will discuss on Friday. Got to thank Glanuccio. Subscribe to Glanuccio's channel. Toss that in the chat. Glanuccio there, modding, keeping us honest, working hard. He forges thumbnails with fire. Goes out in his yard, gets out all his hardware, and he's forging thumbnails. I'm serious. Check out the thumbnails. It's rocking. We're rocking on the thumbnails, and we have Glanuccio to thank for that. Just want to say also thank you to the chat. Thank you to everyone who hung out with us. Thank you to all of our new members. Look for Alan's stuff in there. We've also got giveaways coming up. We have more codes. We just post them for members, and it's first come, first serve on codes to movies. We'll be doing more of that. What else, Alan? Did I miss anything?
Visit filmthread.com for indie reviews. We've got a lot coming up. Toronto starts tomorrow, and so we've got a lot of films from Toronto.
I completely forgot about that. The Toronto Film Festival is happening. A lot of movies that go on to win Oscars premiere at Toronto. Dune premiered at Toronto. Was it last year? I think it was last year.
Yes, it did. And I am actually looking forward to the Brendan Fraser movie as well.
Yeah. It got like a 6-minute standing ovation
for him.
For him. Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know. And then I saw a picture and I'm like, oh my God, he looks perfectly like Gene Roddenberry. He could play that. Also go to shop.filmthread.com. You can grab our merch there. You can get the shirt that I'm wearing, which is inspired by one of my favorite movies from 1999, Fight Club. starring Brad Pitt. Chuck Palahniuk, the author of the novel Fight Club, said he thought the ending of the movie was better than the ending in his book. So there you go. I'm a big Chuck Palahniuk fan. One of my favorite Chuck Palahniuk novels is Survivor. If you've ever read Survivor, the book starts out where a guy is recording his final thoughts into the black box on a plane. Everyone had, like, the pilot parachutes out and he's on the plane telling the story of his life before it's about to crash. That's the beginning of it.
Oh my god.
And he has this crazy, he becomes like a cult leader. And I believe Survivor is the novel that the name Suicide Girls, you know, the Suicide Girls. If you go to Suicide Girls, the term Suicide Girls came from that novel. And now, of course, we're going to get limited in our monetization because I use that term, but that's a term. It's a website. It's a thing. It's a burlesque. They do burlesque shows. Anyways, yeah, I just want to say thank you to everybody. We'll see you on Friday. Alan, what's the last thing that we like to say?
Let's get out of here.